Hi guys, how are you all doing? I hope all of you are doing well and all of you are safe with your families. Well, this here is the Hyundai Tucson 2020. It's a car which sells above the Hyundai Creta, and honestly it's a very posh looking, very luxurious looking SUV. Now this car belongs to Budmo.com. Now what is Budmo? Well, Budmo, as you might be aware by now, is the online expert in terms of spare parts. If you want a spare part for your vehicle, they have it in their list. They have the most extensive spare parts catalog, right from the most affordable small car to the top of the line luxury car, you name the car, and they have the spare parts for it. And the best point is that they have the spare parts from a host of different component makers and different price segments for the same spare part. So if you want to buy a cheaper part from a different maker or a more expensive part from a different component maker, they have the option for you. And they also promise you 10 days assured return without any hassles. If you don't like the spare part, you can send it back and they'll return all the money to you in the first 10 days. So Budmo.com is the name of the website. You can check them out on your iOS as well as Android devices as well. And they really are the experts when it comes to spare parts. Anyways, now let's get back to our video review of the new Hyundai Tucson. As you can see, it's a flashing looking car. It really does look very upmarket, very opulent. And today I'll review this car for you and tell you what makes the Hyundai Tucson 2020 so special. Let's get started. Well, so let's talk about the looks of this car first. Let's just quickly take you on a walk around of this car. Now, in terms of the front end of the car, I just love the sophisticated, very urban look of this car. It's a very European looking car. You get a huge grille up front and it's got the right amount of chrome. It's not overtly done. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4 big slats, and there's also a fifth slat which is, surrounding the entire grille area. The bumper also is quite nice, not overtly sculpted. The headlamp unit is brilliant to look at because it's got multiple projector elements in it, and really it's one of the nicer units I've seen on any SUV out there. The fog lamps are halogen, and of course the side indicators are all LEDs, so it has a very mature, very sophisticated urban look. As I just said, the side profile is complete with these 18-inch wheels. Of course you get 225 section tires, and the alloy wheels also have a very unique design about themselves. They're not in silver. They've got a nice machined grey look, and they look really nice and cool and funky. The side view mirror gets a turn indicator in it. And if you look at the side profile of this car, the complete side profile of this car, it has a bit of a raising waistline. The chrome over here on the front door starts to go up by the time it comes onto the last pillar. So that is something which gives it a very muscular look and a very unique look as well. The wheel arches are clad in black, so it gives a nice contrast to the silver color of this car. Black and silver looks very muted in terms of design, but it also has that nice muscled up look. Also a little bit of crease over here on the back end. As you can see, there's a bit of a crease here between the top end and the lower part of this panel, so that also adds to the overall muscular bits of the car. The rear lamps, again, they wrap around, so they go all the way up over here on the side of the car, and again give it a very sophisticated, very mature look. This car also sells a lot in the European markets and the American market as well, so it's made for those markets. And these side lamps have got reflectors in them. If my cameraman can bring the camera back over here, these are reflectors, and this reflector is here because it's mandatory in the US markets to have some kind of reflector on the car, on the side profile, so that when you're driving in the night, people can see your car. So that's something which is there by law. At the back end, again, you can see it's a very sophisticated design, very sober design. It's not in your face. It's not a design which shouts out that look at me. It's a good design. Someone who's mature, sophisticated, urban will enjoy the looks of this car. And if you open up the boot, it's a powered tailgate. So if you open it up, in terms of size and profile, it's got the right amount of size. It's a square shaped boot. There's absolutely no loading sill, which means that heaving in those big bags and those big boxes will not be an issue in the least. You also get a 12-volt charging point, which is something which all cars now offer, and that's there because in case your rear tires run on low air pressure, you can put up that air pressure device and hook it up with this 12-volt charging point. So overall, as I just said, it's a very good design, very urban, very sophisticated, and it's a typical Hyundai design. It's got the feel-good factor, it's got modern looks, and it's got the right amount of balance as well. Now let's jump inside the cabin and tell you the features, the quality, and the comfort that this car has to offer. Well, first things first, you have to really congratulate Hyundai for the quality levels inside this car, because the quality can actually outclass and outshine many a German rival. If you have the budget of about 25 odd lakh rupees or 30 odd lakh rupees and you want a car which offers you opulence, comfort, luxurious features and a feel-good factor, then the Hyundai Tucson is perfect for you. Now in terms of the overall quality, the top of the dashboard is really well made, fantastic plastic quality, top of the door pad is well made, and even the switches here for the AC controls and even the smaller switches here, the knobs, everything absolutely first-rate quality. So there's no fault with the quality of this car. The overall equipment levels are also very good. You get cruise control, you get automatic headlamps, you get automatic wipers, you get multiple airbags, a huge panoramic sunroof, electric parking brake, auto hold function, different drive modes to choose from. You get sport, comfort and eco mode, and really there's everything in this car which you can think of. In terms of the practicality, it's a good place to be. A couple of beverage holders here, a big tray where you can keep your key or you can keep some coins over there while it's charging for your mobile phone, a big tray there as well, and the door bins are large enough to house those big 1 litre bottles from your home. There's also a big box over here where you normally keep your elbow and rest, and the glove box also is of a big shape and size. So overall, in terms of quality, in terms of comfort, in terms of features, in terms of the feel-good factor, Hyundai has done a fantastic job with the all-new Tucson. And really, if I had to find a fault on this car, I really can't find any fault. The only fault is that maybe you can say that this little switch over here, this little bulb over here is not an LED. It seems like an old school bulb, and it's really very small, and maybe at night this could be not really big enough to brighten up your face. But actually, I'm just nitpicking over here, because unless I nitpick, then you'll say that I have been paid by Hyundai to review this car and I'm only saying positive things. Anyways, 10 out of 10 in the front seat department. As I just said, top class car for features, comfort as well as quality. Now let's jump in the back seat and see if it's as impressive as the ones in the front. Well, so here I am now in the second row of the Hyundai Tucson seats, and as you can see, knee-room is more than sufficient, headroom also is more than adequate. Now my preference is 5'10", and I always adjust the front seat for my height and driving position. So if your chauffeur is about 5'10", 5'11", maybe even if your chauffeur is about 6 feet tall, you should not have any issues in the back. And even if you are about 5'10", 5'11" yourself, you have plenty of place over here. The seats also are very good in terms of the cushioning. You sit at a nice 90-degree angle. The knee and hip angle is also at a nice 90-degree. Good support for your under thighs, good support for your lower back. And it's a very wide car, so 3 occupants should not be any issue, even though on the longest of long journeys. A panoramic sunroof means that you never feel claustrophobic, and the windows are also large enough. Even though the waistline is rising a little bit, you never feel claustrophobic because the window is pretty large. You get your own AC vents, you also get a USB charging point, and even though there's a bit of a lump in the floor panel, it's a slight lump, whoever sitting here will easily manage to find place for his feet because the footwells are quite deep in their own rights. Now before I forget, the speakers on this car are from Infinity, and the sound system really is very good, and the bass is very clear, the notes are deep, and you'll really enjoy listening to this sound system when you're sitting inside this car. Overall, a strong score to the back seat of 10 out of 10. It's really a very impressive place to be, and Hyundai really has done a fantastic job with the space, the comfort as well as the luxury of the Tucson. Well, so here I am driving the Hyundai Tucson now. Now this car, remember, comes with 2 engine options. There's a petrol 2 litre and there's also a diesel 2 litre. And today we're driving only the petrol, so we'll focus our attention on the petrol engine. Now this engine makes about 150 bhp of power, which is good enough for this car and its weight as well as size. And you get a 6-speed automatic gearbox as standard as well, and the gearbox is really a nice and good unit to operate. The shifts are completely seamless, both upshifts as well as downshifts are very seamless, and you won't be able to tell what gear this car is doing. Now what you'll also like about this car is the fact that you can choose from a host of different driving modes. So you get eco mode if you're someone who wants to save fuel. You can choose, of course, sport mode if you want the car to become aggressive, and you can also choose comfort mode, which is a mix and balanced out approach to both the eco as well as the sport mode. Now what essentially happens in the various modes is that the engine becomes a little more aggressive and the gearbox holds on to the revs a little longer, it becomes a little more sportier, and the weight in the steering wheel also increases by a slight bit. And what you like is the fact that as soon as you hit the sport mode over here, the engine instantaneously becomes a little more aggressive, the performance really does jump up, and the steering wheel also becomes sharper. This car's agility improves because the steering wheel becomes more responsive and adds a lot more weight to it. So this is the mode that most of you who call themselves keen drivers will drive in. And of course, if you don't call yourself a keen driver and want just to reach from point A to point B and don't want a heavy steering wheel, then again you can shift back to the comfort mode, and the steering wheel becomes light. And if you want it to become even lighter, you can choose the eco mode, and it becomes overtly light, and also the fuel efficiency improved. Of course, the performance also drops a bit, but that's something which most buyers who want a hassle-free car really don't worry about. Now, the suspension setup on this car is also very good, and no matter what speeds you're doing, you might be doing slow city speeds, you might be just maneuvering your way from office to home, and you might be going over those badly patched up roads, those rumble strips, those crevices, those expansion joints. This car will not allow anything to enter the cabin. It's a very nicely set up suspension, and even at faster speeds, maybe doing 100 or 110 on the highway, this car really does stick to the road very well, and you won't have to slow down for that very badly made rumble strip in the middle of the highway, because this car will simply glide over it, just goes over it without any fuss whatsoever. So it really does offer you a very good suspension setup. It soaks in the bumps and never makes you feel uncomfortable. What you'll also like about this car is the fact that the cabin is a very well isolated place, so there's absolutely no wind noise, no tire noise, and there's absolutely no engine noise at all. Being a 6-speed gearbox also means that flexibility of the engine is greatly enhanced. So you might be doing speeds of about 100 or 110 kph on the highway, and the engine is spinning at a relatively low 1600 or 1700 rpm, which makes the cabin again a very quiet place to be in. Now, performance from this engine is available in the bucket loads. It's really very good in terms of performance, and you can expect it to deliver performance right from a very low RPM from about 1300, 1400 RPM, all the way up to its red line of about 6000 RPM without any fuss whatsoever, and even close to its red line, it doesn't sound very noisy or buzzy. So it is a very quiet car in that sense, and really it offers you a very plush ride, a very rich experience in the car. The refinement levels are good, the engine gearbox is very good, and as I said, the suspension setting is also very comfortable. So in terms of the driving department, I'll give this car a very good score of 95 out of 100. Yes, it is a very, very good car. Dynamically, it's very good. Refinement wise, it's very good. And comfort wise, the suspension really is a very good car to sit in, and really deserves top marks. And Hyundai has done a fantastic job with the overall packaging of this new Tucson. Well, so what is my overall verdict with the Hyundai Tucson? Well, I reckon that if you're in the market for a budget of about 24-25 lakh rupees, you want to buy a car which is slightly more roomier, slightly bigger than the Creta, or maybe if you're upgrading from the Creta or a Seltos, then this is the perfect package for you. It offers you a very cushiony ride, it offers you premium interiors, it offers you a very plush cabin, and the engine refinement is also very good. And as I just said, it seems like a very natural upgrade from a Creta or a Seltos or any other mid-size SUV for that matter. And definitely, it's worth the price. It's worth 25-26 lakh rupees. If you have this kind of budget, or even if you're planning to buy maybe the top-of-the-line version of the Creta or the top-of-the-line version of the Seltos, then I reckon if you spend a few lakhs more, then this car is definitely worth the price. I hope you have enjoyed watching our video today. And with that, it's bye for now, and thanks for watching.